Jill, thank you so much for being here today and helping our chapter celebrate this incredible event. It truly is humbling to remember that we are part of the largest women's fraternal organization in the world. It is now my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce my dear friend and chapter president, Katie Cullen.
Thank you, Mallory. My name is Katie, as Mallory said, and I am originally from Little Rock, Arkansas. I came to William and Mary not knowing a single person. And growing up in Arkansas, I had heard about CAIO, it being founded at the University of Arkansas. Sure enough, when I got here to William and Mary, going through the recruitment process, Chi Omega was a sorority that really just drew me in from the beginning. I remember being so excited to talk to those women, being so intrigued by how outspoken they were, how genuine they were, and thinking to myself that I really hoped I could surround myself with a group of women like them. And now, being selected to lead as GH for this chapter, it's been such an incredible honor. It's one of the hardest things I've done here at college, but by far the most rewarding. I feel so honored that I was selected by a group of women who I look up to, I'm inspired by. I often get asked what it's like being CAIO president, what I do. And to be honest, I haven't had the best answer. There's sure a lot of big things, a lot of speeches, things like this, but there's also a lot of little things that are hard to put into words. A lot of the job is having conversations, checking in with people, being a friend to people, uplifting other leaders in the chapter. It's really those things that make the job for me. And although I haven't really been able to articulate it well before, in preparing for today, I kind of came up with an analogy that I think makes sense. It's like I'm driving a bus, a really, really big bus, a bus with over 100 seats, a bus that gets really loud sometimes, a bus that runs at its best when people are giving me directions when I don't know the right answer or possibly opening another pathway, a bus that operates well when people want to sit down next to one another and get to know each other, get to know what's similar and also what makes each other different. This bus can only run well with two very important features, the rear view mirror and the windshield. The rear view mirror, sure, it's small, but we're always glancing back. Especially today, we're reminded of our history. We're reminded of the women who graduated last year, a few years ago, decades ago, and now even a century ago. We're reminded of the 100 classes of Omicron Betas, the 100 executive boards, the 100 presidents, all the women who have walked through the doors of 127 Richmond Road, the Chi Omega house that has become so dear to so many of us. We're reminded of those times we sprinted up the flight of stairs all the way to the third floor, out of breath. We're reminded of the composites that hang on the wall, or maybe you're in one of those composites that hangs on the wall. I know my time in the Chi Omega house, I spent a lot of time outside my bedroom, sitting on top of the stairs, and there was one composite that brought me a sense of peace. Every time I would call my mom or just need a place to think, I would go out there and I would look at this one composite right outside my room. I gained a sense of familiarity with the faces. I had never met any of these women, but I would think about what their experience was like. Maybe they had some of the similar struggles I had had in college. I would wonder what their role in the sorority was. It was this anchoring sense of peace and calmness, just from a connection of them being Omicron Betas as well. It really goes to show being a part of this sorority, it's bigger than myself. It's bigger than any individual. It's bigger than all of our active members. So much more than that. And that rear view mirror, it allows us to learn from the successes and the failures of the past. It gives us momentum, allows us to reconsider old ways, to ask new questions, to ask how we can more dutifully follow those lines of the symphony that mean so much. But ahead of that rear view mirror is the windshield. And that momentum and drive that we gain from looking back on the past is exemplified here. It is inspiring to see how important it is to our chapter that we leave it better than we found it. That windshield makes us think of what's to come, what the future of our chapter will look like, what our role will be as Greek life is ever evolving. the friends that we've made in college that will be there for the rest of our lives. While we celebrate the past 100 years today, I think it's also important that we look forward and cheers to the next 100 and what the next century of Chi Omega will look like. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce Madeline Bertignoli, my best friend and our amazing GTB.
Hi, as Katie said, my name is Madeline. I'm a junior from Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I'm the Omicron Beta Vice President. Today, I'm going to be celebrating and highlighting our members' achievements and giving out our annual Elcini Awards. First and foremost, I'd like to congratulate all these women, 47 in total, for receiving Dean's List last semester. That's above having a 3.6 GPA. For our seniors, we have Alex Bongiorno, Alex Cook, Abby Daniel, Anahita Dungell, Jillian Gaunt, Margaret Lister, Lindsay Miller, Zoe Monshine, Maddie Moore, Sophie Morris, Hope Skelly, Anna Simets, and Diana Tramontano. For juniors, we have Sydney Andes, Madeline Bertinoli, Abby Carpenter, Kiara Douglas, Peyton Forthuber, Raquel Geddes, Leah Green, Lauren Lamb, Izzy Lena, Jessica Marshall, Belle Martyr, Lauren Russell, MK Savage, Emma Stevenson, and Elise Zimmerman. For sophomores, Bianca Cabral Chavez, Hadley Day, Maddie Dunn, Brittany Hendricks, Kate Hentz, Katie King, Katie Lynch, Alyssa Nekritz, Anna Raymond, Kimya Shirazi, and Katie Stevenson. And finally, for freshmen, we have Kristen Crisanti, Susanna Matthews, Abby Matusnik, Kelsey McAllister, Mia Pincunas, Rachel Tierney, and Olivia Webb. Throughout this difficult year, I'm amazed at not only our chapter scholarly achievements, but also the strength of all our sisters. We have truly excelled in so many other ways besides academia, campus involvement, volunteer work, career development, and athletics. Omicron Betas are integral members of not only the William & Mary student body, but the Williamsburg community. I commend your commitment to our chapter during this time and your continued efforts to be well-rounded individuals. Congratulations to Maddie Moore and Alex Bongiorno for being the highest achieving big and little. They both received a 4.0 GPA last semester, averaging out to a 4.0 between the two of them. Thank you so much for your hard work. The first Elcini Award goes to Claire Savage. She's receiving the Marcia Childress Award. This goes to the sophomore who most exemplifies the qualities of Marcia Childress: a quiet love for Chi Omega, the will to work for the fraternity, and a unifying influence. Claire has really stepped up this past year as our chapter's treasurer during the COVID-19 pandemic. She is passionate about making Chi Omega more accessible and equitable. She works tirelessly to ensure every member's needs are met. Despite only being at William & Mary for 2 years, Claire is a voice of leadership among Chi Omega and the Panhellenic community. Lucy Roberts will be receiving the Velveeta Cummings Award. This goes to the most outspoken junior in the chapter. Her opinions are often heard and respected. Her intentions and goals for the chapter are positive ones. Lucy has taken Omicron Beta's marketing to the next level. Lucy has used Instagram to highlight our sisters' impressive achievements, promote our DEI initiatives, and highlight numerous philanthropy events and volunteer opportunities in Williamsburg. Lucy puts thought, creativity, and effort into everything she does, and has added our chapter in so many ways, giving so many women within it a voice. Leah Green will be receiving the Hyperactive Award. This is given annually to the junior whose involvement in the chapter is like none other. She goes above and beyond for the call of duty and does so willingly and graciously. Leah truly goes above and beyond for her role as philanthropy chair. Her passion for Make-A-Wish is contagious and has motivated our members like never before. We have a newly established goal of granting one wish, equivalent to $10,000, and we are well on our way under Leah's leadership. The difficulties of this pandemic have not limited her, but instead inspired great creativity. I can say firsthand that Leah is someone you can turn to for any help you need and is willing to support and lend a hand to all our members. Jackie Westbrook will be receiving the Madge B. Lampton Award. This goes to the senior who shows the utmost loyalty to the chapter and the college. She has achievements in scholarship and intellectual maturity and her high caliber of service throughout the years, both to the chapter and the school. Over her 4 years within Chi Omega, Jackie has shown loyalty to our chapter like no other. She's become an influential role model for sisters in every grade. Jackie is eager to help in any way she can, taking another little in as a senior, painting countless banners and letters, and gracing us with her beautiful voice whenever we need someone to sing. We are truly lucky to have Jackie singing Shades at the end of this and not me. Katie Stevenson will be receiving the Best New Member Award. This is given annually to the new member who put forth great efforts during her first year as Chi Omega. She shows potential for the chapter as a leader. Katie is an essential member of our chapter. Joining as a sophomore, she has truly immersed herself into our chapter with her bubbly and hilarious personality and bringing so many smiles to all our sisters. I'm excited to see what Katie does next in Omicron Beta and William and Mary. I have high expectations for her as a leader. Thank you for your attention, and for all the chapter members, thank you for your strength and commitment to Chi Omega and community during this time. Also, congratulations to all the women who received these awards.
Thank you so much, Maddie, and congratulations to all the women of the chapter who are recognized today. Our next speaker was elected unanimously in 2018 to serve as the 28th president of the college and is the first woman to hold said position. In her time as president, she has already created the college's first long-term sustainability plan, shaped William Mary's strategic planning, and spearheaded the university-wide approach to diversity and inclusion. It is my pleasure to introduce you all to President Catherine Rowe.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. Good evening, everybody. President Cullen, alumni, distinguished guests, and students, thank you for inviting me to celebrate with you. 100 years. 100 years since the first Greek organization for women was established at William and Mary. What a wonderful reason to be together. I had a beautiful Caio ferry leave me a wonderful mug earlier today, and if others have a glass later on at the end of my remarks, I thought I would raise this mug to you with a toast. This milestone coming in this year calls us to reflect with pride and to look forward with hope. This is a moment for taking stock. You've heard that in the remarks so far. It's also a moment for seizing the potential of the resilience and the grit and the mutual commitment and respect we found in William and Mary over such a difficult year. Many of you know that Chi Omega Centennial falls in the midst of a decade of anniversaries at William and Mary. Just listen to these for a moment. The 50th anniversary of the first African American students in residence, the centennial of coeducation. This year, the Asian Centennial at William and Mary. After that, the Tercentennial at the Brackerton Indian School. Beyond that, the Centennial of Phi Beta Kappa and 2026 of our country. Each of these milestones invites us to reflect, why does community memory matter? For the sake of what is it that we commemorate as we do today? It's a richly layered question for a 328-year-old institution. A quote by historian and current executive director of the Jamestown Yorktown Foundation, just around the corner, Christy Coleman, helps us answer it. Ms. Coleman states, history really is about us, what we choose to value, what we choose to hold dear, how we choose to make connections and build community. Anniversaries like this call us with humility and with so much gratitude to acknowledge all those who make us who we are and who made us who we are today. We remember all those on whose shoulders we stand, who lifted us up, parents, mentors, sisters, philanthropists, trailblazers who came before us. Thinking back over the past century, we can each name significant moments and significant leaders of change whose efforts made William and Mary more of what we value today. When the first women students arrived just over 2 years before Chi Omega was established here, they moved fast then. They had to. When these students stepped on a campus, they weren't setting out to be pioneers. They were setting out to study. And that was a radical thing to do. As they seized that radical opportunity, they paved the path forward for each generation of women who followed by forging bonds like the ones that this sisterhood has forged. They made it easier in that way for those who followed. A second, more recent example of transformation comes from my first days at William and Mary. I had the privilege to participate in the dedication of the Integrated Wellness Center. This center created an extraordinary physical landmark in the heart of campus for well-being. It was incredibly exciting for a new president to clip that ribbon. Past and present students and colleagues have sharpened William and Mary's focus on wellness for years, and this was a moment when it really came forward in a way that amplified it as a value for the whole institution. I want to pause here to acknowledge two of the giants for whom that center is named. Bea McLeod, a Chi Omega alumna, and Goody Tyler, her husband, are our wellness champions at William and Mary. Their work, their generosity affirms what we know well from research, that well-being is so critical to creative thinking, to analysis, to problem solving. Student wellness ambassadors from the center spread the power of reflective practice as part of a holistic approach to wellness at this university. So in every way, Bea, who we lost shockingly last year, and Goody, in every way their generosity makes it easier for those who followed, freeing the creativity, the grit, the critical thinking of the student body. Well-being frees us to become change ready, preparing us to move from reflection to vision to action, as many of the speakers today have already described. And I just want to pause on that phrase, change ready. Some of you will know as you hear it. Of course, that's a phrase that's much on everyone's mind today, but I'm borrowing it from Beth Comstock, another Chi Omega alumna. I hope you can hear me weaving the wisdom of this sisterhood into my remarks today. In her book, Imagine It Forward, Beth writes, "We must become change ready. That is fearless, perpetually ready to re-envision, rethink, and redesign whatever we do, wherever we are, whatever we are. You must give yourself permission to imagine a new future and act on it." She gave the same permission to new William and Mary students in her 2019 convocation remarks. And just a few months later, we were swept into forced change by pandemic. Giving ourselves permission to change in ways that advance what we value is incredibly important right now, as we can begin to see the light at the end of the tunnel of pandemic. We have been in a moment of incredibly rapid transformation nationally brought on by COVID-19. At William and Mary, we've learned that we can transform ourselves in ways we would never have believed possible. Right now, at this moment, we're thinking in just a few weeks, that we're going to have an in-person commencement for our seniors, and that we will be able to have family members there, a small number. We have reimagined commencement in 6 different events so that that's possible. And the staff and faculty and administrative leaders who've done this, my colleagues, have done it because they've known we can make the change we need to be able to come together in the ways that we value. I want to credit the leadership of our sororities and our fraternities here at William & Mary for getting us to this place and this moment of imagining forward. They have been so critical to our success in our pandemic response this year, adapting, engaging the membership, all in for our Healthy Together commitments. Katie, Madeline, everybody who's spoken today, I want to thank you for that leadership. And to all the alumni on this call, I want you to know that this chapter embraced the changes that were needed this year. They did it in a way that should really make you proud. These are such worthy human beings to be your legacies. Now, we know that many have lost much during the pandemic, but what I'm going to remember myself from it is the way in which leaders from across the William and Mary community stepped forward to take care of our community. We've learned that we can act together decisively, even in the face of tremendous uncertainty. We can transform in a swift and principled way in the service of our mission. And we've shown massive competence as a community in that process. So we're turning our attention back to strategic planning this spring with that new knowledge and that confidence. The strategic priorities that we set out are going to guide us in pandemic. So I'm thinking about the brain trust on this call right now. As you mark the milestone of a century for CAIO, all the CAIOs here, I would love to invite you to, as the human beings you are, with the knowledge of this institution that you have, to join us in that planning process. Read the white papers that the planning committee has crafted on each of our mission areas. Send us your thoughts and your vision, and I'll make sure that you have the link for that. Keep imagining it forward. Keep imagining and giving ourselves permission to be change ready for the next 100 years. In her 1898 address to the National American Women's Suffrage Association, the amazing Mary Church Terrell gave a beautiful vision of how progress can be achieved by a community of women. This is what she said: lifting as we climb, onward and upward we go, struggling and striving, and hoping that the buds and blossoms of our desires will burst into glorious fruit ere long. Leadership happens in this way, everywhere where someone calls others in to invest in those who follow. You heard President Cullen talk about uplifting others just a few moments ago. That's the verb. Lifting as we climb is what sisterhood is about. I know that CAIOs recognize this because I've seen that spirit in you everywhere I've met you. It's such an honor to be celebrating that spirit and imagining its next 100 years. So to all the CAIOs here, to Katie and Madeline, who brought me this wonderful mug, let me toast you. It's just got water in it. And it's a little early in the day, but I'm toasting you with all my heart. Congratulations.
Thank you so much for giving us your time today, President Rowe, and celebrating this event with us. It's now my pleasure to welcome our two alumni co-chairs of Centennial, Beth Salakoven, class of 83, and Wynn Whitehurst, class of 69. Beth and Wynn have worked tirelessly over the past 2 years to document our chapter's history and bring together alumni from all generations. Thank you to both of you for your hard work. It is my pleasure to welcome you both to the stage.
Wait, now am I speaking? I hope I'm speaking now. I just got the message to unmute. So I'll say my joke again. I thought you all would have gotten my email that on Saturdays we wear togas and tiaras, but that's okay. I just want to thank again President Rowe for speaking and also being a support for me and for the other Centennial Committee members and making the time to speak with us today. I'm also, in addition to being a proud member of the class of 1983, I am the mother of Reed Coven, class of 2021. So shout out to the class of 2021. We will see you in person in late May and get to see you get your degrees. I'm a proud New Jersey girl, but 6 years ago, my family and I moved to San Francisco, something I thought would never happen to me in my lifetime. But looking back, now that I'm the ripe old age of 60, I could see that I moved 3 times before coming to William and Mary and 5 times after leaving William and Mary. So these years here out on the West Coast, thanks to my son, who matriculated in 2017, have meant a lot of trips back to Williamsburg. And I've thought a lot about this idea of home. And I think William and Mary is home. And I think for any of us that were in the Chi Omega sorority, that house is home. Over the last 2 years, the Centennial Committee has worked with Residence Life, Facilities, and University Advancement to plan a renovation of our beloved Chi Omega house. It was built in 1929, just a few years after the founding of the sorority, and last renovated about 40 years ago. Our house is in some great need of TLC. We are planning a top to bottom renovation. The highlights will include new mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and safety system upgrades. We will have an ADA compliant entry and first floor bathroom. We'll have commercial grade central air conditioning. We'll have a new kitchen and new bathrooms on the second and third floor. And most exciting, we will have a new chapter room so the chapter can once again use the house for Monday night meetings. Today, we are launching a campaign to raise $1.7 million for the renovation. I'm happy to report that several alumni have made leadership gift pledges already. But it's important that this house be built by everyone. And we are hoping that all alumni can contribute as they are able. All of our donors, no matter what size, will be recognized at our gala weekend in April 2022. So we will begin the fundraising in earnest on One Tribe, One Day. Here with the plan on that is my slightly older sister, and really, it's been a great pleasure to get to know her these last few years, Wynn Whitehurst.
Thanks, Beth. Like Katie, I came to William & Mary about 50 years ago from a southern state, and I never went home. I've fortunately lived the rest of my life in Virginia, and I'm joining you today from Richmond. Am I on? Me too. I'm also happy to tell you that after 50 years of membership in Chi O and Omicron Beta, my two very best friends are two Chi Omega sisters. Now, get down to the brass tacks. Beth has told you about the house. She's told you we're launching a major fundraising campaign today, but I want to tell you how we want to use One Tribe, One Day on next Tuesday as sort of the springboard to start our fundraising. As you may or may not know, One Tribe, One Day really focuses on trying to get numbers. The real impetus is to get the largest possible number of donors without really worrying so much about how many dollars are raised. Within that structure, there's already something called the Greek Challenge, and that's to be the fraternity or the sorority that has the largest number of donors. So we want to take those two that challenge and layer a slightly more fun challenge for us. We're calling it the 1921 Challenge. And here it is. Our challenge is for every collegiate member, every active, and every alumna Chi O to give $19.21. You can give more. You could give thousands if you want. You might want to give 100 in recognition of our 100th anniversary, but all we're asking for is $19.21. Now, to help drive the numbers, we have a generous alum who has promised to give $10,000 for every 100 donations, up to $30,000. So if 300 of us will get in there on Tuesday and pledge our 1921, she'll give us an additional $30,000. So I'm asking you, give your own 1921. If you're of the younger crowd, maybe you want to ask your parents to give an additional gift. Maybe you want to give your boyfriend. Maybe you want to call your roommate who's not on this call. For the alums, call your little sister, call your big sister, call somebody in your class that you haven't talked to in 2 years. Make this a chance for us to all reach our arms out, all do it together. It's a heavy lift, but let's get 300 donations. Not only would we meet the 1921 challenge, but I think we would win the Greek challenge as well. We hope to be able to post during the day on our Facebook page, which is 100th anniversary of Chi Omega at William & Mary. We are hoping to post during the day how we're doing toward that 300 goal. So check in with that off and on during the day. I think you all know that updating and improving the house will not only provide a safer and more comfortable place for our collegiate sisters to live, but it will also be sure that the house that we all love and the place to which we come home remains forever. Valerie? There she is.
All right. Thank you so much, Win and Beth. You both truly exemplify that Chi Omega is for a lifetime. Thank you both for your hard work. And I would also like to thank my incredible co-chair, Lauren Russell, whose tenacity and dedication amazes me every single day that I get to work with her. I'd also like to extend the gratitude on behalf of our chapter to Jacqueline Smith and Carol Cairns for their hard work on this event, as well as Susan Barshis and all the other members of House Corps who work tirelessly to make sure that the Chi Omega House is our home. Finally, I'd like to express my gratitude for everyone who spoke today and to all the actives who continue to shape Omicron Beta's now century-old legacy. The celebration doesn't end today. We invite you all to join us at homecoming this fall from October 7th through 10th for our annual Chi Omega brunch, a Chi Omega tailgate for the football game, and to walk with other Omicron Beta alumni in the annual parade. We also invite you to join us from April 29th to May 1st, 2022 for a Centennial Weekend, which will include a banquet in the newly renovated Alumni House, as well as other activities commemorating 100 years of sisterhood. To receive updates regarding both of these events and more, make sure to keep your information up to date on Chi Omega every day, like Omicron Beta's official Facebook page, and join the Facebook group. Now, to wrap up our celebration, it is my pleasure to welcome to the stage Jackie Westbrook, a senior in Chi Omega who has been singing with the a cappella group Reveille for the past 4 years. Jackie will be singing Shades, and we invite you all to sing along.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jackie. I'm from Springfield, Virginia. And I just wanted to say, I think I speak on behalf of all the seniors when I say it's been an amazing 4 years here at Omicron Beta. And I'm honored to be able to share that amazingness through this farewell song that we all cherish, Shades. In the shades of evening, there will be no grieving, even though you're leaving Tayo far behind you. There'll be many memories, there'll be many letters, there'll be lonely hours till we meet again. Then we'll have our reunion, there'll be toasts and singing, and you'll hear us bringing praises to you. Till then, Kayo, now departing, come bid sweet adieu, Kayo. Ever after we'll remember you.
Thank you, Jackie, and thank you to everyone who attended tonight. After this event, we'll be sending an email with all the info about our upcoming events and One Tribe, One Day. Through these difficult times, we can find encouragement and support through our sisterhood. And remember to be womanly always and discouraged never. Thank you and have a great night.